Okay, so we're going to move on now to put some of our learning today into practice for you. So you've spent the lesson looking at different religious views towards forgiveness. You've looked at some Christian views and you've looked at some Muslim views, okay? Now, a couple of years ago, a question with regards to suffering and be able to explain two different types of suffering was on the past paper. So it may be time for it to come round again. So what we're going to do now is we'll just go through a question, okay, and you're going to model it. So you're going to help me model this question, put it together in order for you to get the full 5 marks, okay? So the question is, explain 2 religious beliefs about forgiveness. So first of all, what is that question asking you to do? Yeah, it's asking you to explain. It's not asking you to contrast. It's not asking you to compare. It's asking you quite simply to explain. Now, it's 5 marks, okay? So someone tell me, let's break this down, okay? How many sentences might you have? How many points do you need to cover? Okay, so you're going to explain one belief, then you're going to develop that explanation with some more detail. Then you're going to explain a second belief. Then you're going to develop explanation with a bit more detail. And then you're going to add a reference to a sacred writing or another source of religious belief, a source of authority, okay? Doesn't have to be the Bible or the Quran. You can use other examples. Question. Do you need to, or which of those 2 points do you think that you should put the reference on? No, it doesn't matter at all, okay? So all you need to do is make sure you've got that reference for one of those points and one of those explanations. It can be the first point, it can be the second point, whichever you feel most comfortable with. So let's have a look at answering this question. So explain 2 religious beliefs about forgiveness. Okay, and it's 5 marks. So remember, we need that source of authority. So someone start me off. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll model this in different coloured pens so you can see. So starting with Christianity. So Christians are expected to forgive those who offend against them. Okay, so your wording's a little bit like the Lord's Prayer there. Forgive those who trespass against you. Forgive those who offend you. And if they do, God will forgive them. Okay, well done. There's your 1 mark, okay? So we're off and running, 1 mark. We need to develop this. Now, there are a couple of ways you could develop this. Someone give me a couple of ideas. Okay, so you could say that forgiveness is not a replacement for punishment. It's a good answer. What could be a really good one for you, if you can get your sort of your brain, you're thinking about one of the central figures of Christianity. Jesus forgave, watch my spelling there, forgave those who had crucified him. Okay, and of course Christians should follow the example of Jesus. Okay, and Christians should follow his example. Now, we mentioned before that you don't need to put your reference to sacred text on point 2, so we could put it here. You could get it out of the way. We're up to 2 marks. You could smash your 3rd mark here. Anyone think of a quote that might be able to go with this point? Okay, a good one to remember is the quote we looked at last lesson from Luke. So it's Luke 23:34. Okay, so it's nearly 25 to midnight. And then this quote, you might be able to remember, think about all the F's. So Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Father, forgive them for. Okay, so all the F's. They do not know what they are doing. Okay, 3 marks. So what I should have done here is just put this into blue, but here we are, just so you're clear. So your first mark is in green. There's your second mark. Let's use red for Luke. Okay, there's your 3 marks. We're still 2 marks short. We need to get these because this could be the difference between your 7 and your 8. So we could look at doing something or referencing something from another religion. So we were looking at Islam, so we'll go with that. So someone tell me, how might a Muslim person feel about forgiveness? What sort of point could you put in here? Okay, so Muslims believe only Allah can truly forgive. Who might that apply for? So who would Allah forgive? Yeah, so only those who are truly sorry. Okay, so they have to be sorry, not just say it, have to be sorry. All right, well done. Now, we only need another mark here because this is another mark, so this brings it up to 4. Okay, so you could talk about something a Muslim practice. Anyone think of something that they could put here? Okay, so offenders, it's quite difficult to write, but offenders should seek forgiveness from their victim or the victim's family before they could expect Allah to forgive them. Someone give me a reason for that? Why you think that might be? Yeah. So Allah knows they're truly sorry, okay? They've shown that they're sorry and they've requested forgiveness. Yeah. Now, let's imagine that's our 5 marks. So we're happy. We've checked our spelling and grammar and punctuation. We're moving on. But just imagine that we'd forgotten this Luke quote. Does anyone know of a quote that we may put in, we might be more comfortable with for our second 2 points here? Quite a short quote. Yeah, so I'll just have to put it in at the top up here. So the hadith quote: pardon each other's faults. Yeah, and Allah will grant you honour. Okay, well done. So what we've done there's your first point. Okay, we've expanded on that point. We've used a relevant scriptural reference. Okay, so it's a logical chain. We've then given another point of view of another religion, in this case, a Muslim view, and then we've developed that point. Okay, and we've shown that you can put the religious reference either on your first point or your second point, as long as it's there, and as long as it's clear, and make sure it's relevant. There's your 5 marks. Okay, how long do you think you should spend on this answer? Yeah, so it's about 5 minutes. So just have in your mind a minute a mark. Okay, 5 mark question, 5 minutes of your time. Right, what I'm going to do now, let's change it slightly. So we've gone through one together. You are going to do one now. So all I'm going to do, quite similar, I'm adding a word. So explain to contrasting religious beliefs about forgiveness. Think about whether you do something very similar to this, or whether you might want to use some different references or some different points. And then what I'll do, we'll go through another 5-mark question related to forgiveness, which will be explain 2 religious beliefs about reformation as an aim of punishment. Okay, so I'll be giving out your little slips with those on now for you to answer that question. Think about this structure, think about the time, okay, and let's do this. You can work together on the first question, but when you've done that, we'll do the second question about reformation as an aim of punishment under exam conditions, and we'll see how we get on, and then we'll go through them afterwards. But you're going to peer assess them, okay, and you're going to suggest maybe some improvements, so or what went well, and even better if you want to get into those. Are there any questions? Okay, away you go. Have a look at those. I'll be walking around the classroom and we'll see how you get on.